guys, welcome to the channel. Today is Wellness Wednesday on Health Journey with Kadi. So today we're going to be in the kitchen and wellness, and we're going to focus more so on food as of wellness. Remember, Monday is more so the mind. Wednesdays we're going to from now on focus on food and what I do to maintain my health due to the food that I consume, being that I am vegan. Not everyone in my family is vegan and my friends are not vegan, so often cases I have to accommodate those around me. But when I cook for myself, my food is just vegan food. So Wellness Wednesdays will contain that. I hope you guys enjoy today's video. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe before you leave if you are a new member of the family. Thank you for all that you are, and enjoy. I'll see you next time. Is going to be for the broccoli. Actually, let's switch that. I'm gonna first make the pasta here, and then I'm going to make the pasta sauce here, so that can be on one side, and then after that, that other side will be used for something else. Alright, so I guess you could say marinara sauce with the meatballs will go here. The pasta will go on the back. I want water to dry off a little bit, and then I'm going to lower the heat. Okay, so sorry about that. I have to turn on the fan. So much steam. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use 2 1/4 teaspoon of garlic. Okay, so since this already has a little bit of oil in it, and this is a non-stick pot, I do not want to use a whole bunch of oil, so this pot will not have that. What else do I use here? So then I'm going to put some onion powder. Onion powder. I'm going to put some crushed pepper. Make sure the heat is really low. I have so many of the same thing. This one is not open. So crushed pepper and then red cayenne. You want it to have a little bit of that roasted flavor. So put that there. You can put as much as you want, not a lot. Then some paprika. Alright, so in this sauce, I like to have a little bit of the mushrooms you guys just saw. Chopped up. So there's already some water on the mushrooms. And I'm only going to use a little bit of it because I need some for the other dishes. So I have not put any pepper, black pepper, or salt yet. I use this salt because mushrooms tend to hold a lot of salt if you put too much right now. So I'm waiting for the water to boil. In this dish, I will also be putting some diced green onions. Keep everything on low. You do not want it to be burning. So then I have these dried tomatoes. They will be going in there as well. These right here, but I'm gonna cut them up and then raise the heat up a little bit. At that moment, once the water starts to boil, you want to put some salt into the pot. A little bit of salt for your noodles. You don't want to put too much salt. Also, if you don't have a non-stick pot, you could use a little bit of oil, the vegan version, if you want to use oil, or you could use butter if you're not vegan. Cut up the onion, cut up everything. If you want them to be really fine, you can make sure they're really fine in smaller pieces, or if you want them to be a little bit bigger in chunks, you can do that as well. So I am now going to add a little bit of black pepper. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so all I do is twist for about 7. And then for the salt, I'm only going to twist for about 2. I do not like my food to be really salty. I'd rather spicy than salty. Alright, so we're going to be using this can right here that I got from Aldi for my crushed, it's called crushed tomatoes, and that will be going in here, and it will give it that marinara sauce look. I also put a little bit of tomato paste in there as well. So this right here, and then this one right here. Majority of my ingredients I got from Aldi. So I put the tomato paste last. You want your marinara sauce to be very tomato-y. Very thick, but not dried up. Alright, so at the end I will put some parsley and basil. So as you can see, I have not used any oil. And everything is still on here, not sticking. Hopefully you can see. Okay, good. You can see. I'm short, so I have to tiptoe a little bit to see. Alright, so the water is not boiling yet, but you can see the little bubbles in there. Reminder, this is the meatballs I'll be using. Remember, they are a substitute. Okay, so I defrost them a little, you know. Have broccoli. You could boil the broccoli and then put them in there, or put the broccoli at the end because you don't want it to be too cooked. So I will be putting some broccoli at the end once they're a little bit defrosted, and I'll boil them on the side because I don't want them to get hard, to look greenish. Alright, so I'm going to increase the fire. So that's the tomato paste. This is how it looks. Alright, for the noodles, spaghettis, I'll be using these spaghettis. This is the brand that I'll be using. And I'm only going to take about a handful. I do not want a lot. Pasta, just like rice, they give you the same type of effect. A lot of people, like myself, might get bloated. Too much information, but still, like, I enjoy pasta, but alright, so I'm gonna put a little bit of the sauce now. Sometimes it gets a little jumpy if the heat is really high, so lower the heat. So now that I see that it's boiling, I am going to put in the meatballs. You don't have to use all of them, all of the pack, but I am going to because I'm meal prepping. So this is when you want to use the tongues, because you want to separate them. You don't want them to cook all stuck together. You want to separate them a little bit. And then you just let it cook. You just let it cook. So once I have cleared space, I will not be using the stove top. Okay? But right now I am using it, and then all these different things to hold the utensils will move on over here. So we're gonna let this cook for a little bit, and then we'll add this tomato paste. And just a quick hint, I like to clean as I go, so that I do not have a lot of cleaning to do once I'm done cooking. Then I'll add the rest of the sauce. Add a little bit of paprika or some hot flakes. If you like your sauce to be a little bit on the spicier side, the marinara sauce are not all that spicy, but they do have a little bit of kick to it. Alright, so the water is boiling. I'm going to, again, 2 of the sea salt. Okay. And then I will be putting in as much as I can fit in one fist. My hands are small, so this is enough. And I'll crush it. Because if you put it in just as is, it won't be able to fit in that small pot. Next, I am going to be working on the steamed broccoli that are going to go into this sauce at the end. Okay. You do not need a lot of water. I'm using about that much. And you want to turn the handles in so that the heat, you know, this part tends to get a little bit hot. Put it on high so the water can boil faster, and then you would put the broccoli in there. Pretty good. If you have more than 1 can of the tomato paste, put more. I think the more tomatoey it is, the better. But this also gives it that really good tomato paste, like the taste. It gives you that really good taste. Alright, so now it's time for me to put in the tomato paste. And if you want to mix it up a little bit, that will make sure it's not as thick. Yeah. So I'm going to do half and half. Some of it's going to be thick. And then the rest I'm going to put some water. water in it. Just mix it. It's a lot more loose. Don't do what I just did, okay? Do not put the cover on top of another cover. Alright. Add a little bit more water. Mix it up. As you can see, it's still a little thick. Can have everything covered. Every single meatball should be covered. So I do not put a lot of salt because majority of these ingredients already have salt in them. Especially the meatballs already have salt. So you don't want to put too much salt in the sauce itself. So I'm going to cover it, put it on low. So you don't need the cover if the water is overflowing. Cook the noodles like that. You can put the cover on because it helps it cook a little bit faster. And you see that I keep separating because I really don't want them to be stuck together. So put the cover on a different area because right now I don't need the cover anymore. The water is overflowing. Water for the broccoli is coming along, so that is why this pot is on low, because the broccoli is just going to steam and then we'll put them in there. We don't want it to cook too much. Everything would already be cooked, and then you just let it sit for a little bit and you're done with that sauce. And it does not take that long to make the sauce. And if you're not vegan, you just use regular meatballs instead of vegan meatballs, meatless meatballs. Okay, so I put the broccoli in some water because the majority of these are frozen. If you have access to just go get broccoli, go get it. The raw ones. But so I'm gonna pour the water out and then I'm gonna put the broccoli in there, let it steam for a little bit, and that will be it. You can put some salt if you want, but remember the broccoli is going into your marinara sauce. So you don't want to put salt on everything, and then when you mix it, it's too much. So we're gonna let this steam for a little bit, maybe like a minute to 2 minutes. You put the cover on top so that it could just cook a little bit quicker, and then you put it into your sauce. It's looking real good. So this is the parsley I will be using. And I'm trying to find my basil. Find my basil. But if you have basil, you can put that on there too. Or you can just have this parsley. Either one or both will still be good. Again, just to give it that effect, because usually when you go to the restaurant, there's a little bit of greenery on there. So you want to do that. So at this moment, you can taste your sauce, or get someone to taste your sauce for you, so you know if it requires a little bit more salt or a little bit more pepper. But I like to taste mine after I put the broccoli, the parsley, and everything. We're almost there with this one meal. Okay, so the broccoli is steamed. I'm going to remove it, drain the water, and then put the broccoli in here. And I have this handy dandy tool that I will be using to scoop it up. This tool is also useful for pancakes, anything that needs to be scooped. So that's what I'll be doing. So the broccoli is in there. You can see it's not runny and it's not too thick. Adding a little bit more parsley. Alright guys, look at it. That's the end result. Don't forget to drain your pasta in some cold water. Okay. Drain it in some cold water. Yeah, the pasta is done. check if the pasta is done. Grab one and squeeze it. Put it in the water. And then you want to squeeze it. And if it gets like that, my hand's too watery. But if it just cuts up, it's good. And if you want it to be really, really soft, leave it in there for a little bit more. Covered up the pasta pot because it's really done, and I put it on low, really low heat, and everything is just on low heat, and for maybe a minute, not a minute, but for 5 minutes everything will just be on low, and I'll turn it off, rinse the pasta, and store them, and that will be really it. And I'll eat them throughout the week, eat the meal throughout the week. But at least every day I'll have something different. So, yeah. See you guys next week.